Hey everybody, it's Tanya from the Frugal Cafe. I am coming at you today with a different type of video. I wanted to kind of talk about my health issues that I've been dealing with for the last couple of years. I am not doing this for sympathy or anything. I just wanted to share because I know so many of you have been sharing lately about your situations, and I just kind of felt like I wanted to talk about it with you guys. So, anyway, don't mind the background. I'm in my basement, so I'm sorry if you see the junk back here and the cord hanging. So, this is where I have all my eBay inventory and stuff, so I just thought I'd come down here for a little bit of privacy. It's really late. It's, I don't know if it's quite after midnight yet, but it'll be Wednesday, October 14th by the time I finish this video, so... Anyways, I guess I needed to go back a couple of years. Back in the summer of 2013, I thought I was having issues with anxiety. So I made an appointment with a new general practitioner I'd never seen. Went to him, he did an EKG, and he showed it to me and he said, well, what does this look like to you? And I'm like, well, I guess it looks like there's a couple of peaks in there, and, you know, I'm assuming that's not normal. And he's like, right. He goes, well, I want to schedule an echocardiogram for your heart. And he goes, and if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically an ultrasound for your heart. I should also say that my oldest brother, Kevin, had been diagnosed with congestive heart failure when he was 34, I believe it was, 34, 35 years old. So anyways, so I went and had the echocardiogram done, and come to find out the left side of my heart was enlarged, and my blood was only pumping out at 25%, and actually a normal person's heart pumps out blood at about 55%. Which I know doesn't sound like a lot. You'd think it'd be closer to 100, but apparently that's not the case for anybody. So, anyways, so I was devastated. I thought my life was over. The only thing that really saved me, my sanity, I guess, was my oldest brother. I called him crying, freaking out, and I'm like, where do I go from here? And he's like, oh, look at me, Tanya. He goes, you know, I've been dealing with this for, you know, years and years and years, and like 15 years at that point. And he was one of the first people in Wisconsin to start taking Corig, which I'm actually on too. It's a drug to help strengthen your heart muscle. And my brother had just gotten married, you know, the previous year, and you know, was really happy, whatever. And so, you know, I had gone and met a heart doctor, and he put me on Corig, and he also put me on blood pressure medicine. My blood pressure's not up. It's just, it's to help the blood go through the heart better. So, you know, so I got used to taking that twice a day and this and that, whatever. You know, and I would still call my brother when I had issues, you know, when I wanted to talk about things and stuff. And so this was like in June of, it started about in June of 2013. September 9th, 2013, my brother died from cardiomyopathy. And he had come home in the morning, he delivered papers, he sat down in the chair, he told his wife he loved her, and then he woke up, he was choking, and he went in the bedroom, and he's like, my chest hurts, I can't breathe. She goes, I'm calling 911. He goes, I don't care. Ambulance came. Thank God she had just taken a CPR certification the week before, but he had not been breathing for 20 minutes. So he was in intensive care for 6 days, and then we had to make the very hard decision. Actually, his oldest son, who was 20, at the time, 21, had to make the decision to take him off of life support. So my brother passed away at the age of 53 from cardiomyopathy. He missed his first wedding anniversary by 13 days. So that was devastating to me, and it's still devastating to me. And 10 days after he passed away, I had a defibrillator put in my chest. So my cardiologist told me that if my brother would have had a defibrillator in his chest, he'd probably still be here today. Because I was really uncertain if I wanted to have that put in. And he goes, I really think it's a good idea. He goes, I don't... And, I told him, I said, well, why is this happening? Why? And he said, well... And I said, is it because I'm my weight or why? Because I sit for 8 hours a day working. I don't understand this. And he goes, honestly, with your family history, I think it's genetic. And they actually ran 74 tests on me, genetic testing. I had to get special permission from my insurance. They paid for it, thankfully. And they couldn't find anything, but my cardiologist still thought that it's genetic. He goes, obviously, yeah, you could stand to lose weight and whatever. He goes, but I don't think that's the number one cause of your issue. Because my dad also had an enlarged heart back in the day, like 20 years ago, when he was a heavy drinker, and then he quit drinking and it went back down. So, you think all that would be enough to, get me off my butt and lose weight. But unfortunately, sorry about that, guys. My tripod thing fell. Unfortunately, that's not been the case. So anyways, well, let's fast forward to 2 days ago now. I guess it'd be Monday. Excuse me. I went, my cardiologist had left. I live in Wisconsin, and he got offered a really great position at UW-Madison Hospital, which he accepted, and good for him. I'm happy for him. But that left me without a cardiologist. Well, then they sent me a letter saying that they were going to hopefully be bringing in a couple of new doctors in the next couple months, and they would get a hold of me. And see, the issue was, up until then, I was going in every 3 months to have my defibrillator checked. Well, they, so I haven't had it checked in 6 months now. So I go in, I meet this new cardiologist yesterday, and she's like, well, I'm not a device doctor. She goes, they should have told you that in that letter, and I don't really like the way they've handled this, so on and so on. So I'm like, great. So, she had her nurse call down to Rockford in Illinois, and hopefully I can go down there and get it checked. Otherwise, I'm going to have to drive up to Madison, which is about an hour from here, back to my doctor to have him check it. So, hopefully I should know in the next day or two if I can go to Rockford, because it would be closer for me. And, she did a whole bunch of blood work also, and that came back fine, which I was really happy about. Let's see. My blood pressure was fine, which I was glad about, because I've been really stressed out about a lot of things. I mean, who hasn't, right? But anyway, I'm sorry, guys, itching. So yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. And next week I have to go to the hospital where I was born, and get another echocardiogram done. And my cardiologist said, well, either it's going to show us that your heart muscle has improved, or has weakened. She goes, if it's weakened, we're going to have to up your medication. So I am praying to God that it's either stayed the same or it's gotten stronger. So I don't know what I'm going to do if it's gotten weaker, I mean, I'm not saying that's a death sentence or anything, but I don't even want to think about that, because I have a lot to do yet. I'm 40 years old. It was bad enough being 38 and diagnosed with heart failure. So, and it was really hard when I got my, how they give you, I'm assuming most doctors now give you a printout of, your visit for your summary or whatever for the day at the end of your visit. Well, they give you all your issues. And mine, the last thing that was listed on there was cardiomyopathy. And I'm sure it's been listed on there before. I just never noticed it. But it really kind of shook me up. Because I'm like, wow, the same thing that my brother passed away from is, I'm having issues with. So I don't like that. And I know that my brother, I know he's still around. I don't know if you guys believe in that, the afterlife, but I do. And he did not believe in it. And I'm telling you what, it was kind of comforting / funny after he passed away. Because he definitely made himself known to everybody, especially his kids and his grandson, and me. And he's actually messed with my husband more than me, which is hilarious. And my husband proposed to me 20 days after my brother died. And, if you guys watch my videos at all, we have a 19-year-old son. So, yeah, we've only been married for a year and a half. And, we weren't together that whole time. Well, anyways, I told my husband, I said, I want to think about it, because at first I said, is this a pity proposal? And he goes, no. He goes, I've been thinking about it for a while. You can ask Jordan if you don't believe me, because I've talked to him about it. That's our son. And I'm like, okay. Which I did. I asked Jordan. He's like, yeah, my dad talked to me about it for, a couple months ago. I'm like, okay. So anyway. So I told him, I said, well, I'll give you an answer tomorrow. So this was a Sunday. So I said, like, out loud to the universe, I guess. I said, okay, Kevin, if you approve of this, you need to give me a sign before I say yes to him. So I called up my best friend, and I said, Ron asked me to marry him. And she goes, Tanya, she goes, that's weird, because right before you called me, or when you said that, she goes, right before you called me, she goes, for some reason, your name popped into my head, like my first name and then his last name. She goes, I had no idea why. I wasn't even thinking about you or him or anything. And I'm like, okay, there's my first sign. So then I tried to call my brother out in Virginia. What's up, Todd? Here's your shout out. And he didn't answer his phone, so I left him a message saying, hey, can you call me? I need to talk to you about something. Well, he called me back shortly thereafter, and I told him, I said, well, Ron asked me to marry him, and he goes, that's weird, because when I heard your message, for some reason, that popped into my head. I'm like, okay, there's sign number 2. So then I called Kevin's wife. Her name's Angie. And I said, I got something to tell you. And she's like, what is it? And I said, Ron asked me to marry him. And she's like, oh my God. She goes, because I had texted her first. I'm like, I need you to call me. I have some good news and bad news. And honestly, right now, I can't even remember what the bad news was. But, and then when she called me, she goes, I don't know, Tanya. She goes, for some reason, as soon as you said you had some good news, in my head, I thought that Ron asked you to marry you. Ron asked you to marry him, I mean. And I'm like, shut up, and she's like, no, I'm for real. And I'm like, okay. I said, there's number 3. I said, that's good enough for me. So I said yes, and we got married 5 months later on April 23rd, 2014. And it was funny because in one of the pictures, we just got married in a courthouse down in Illinois, which is not really what I wanted to do, but that's the way it happened. So, and it was funny because I think I told my son to, take some pictures on my phone, and I had my back to the camera, so a lot of them were, my husband was facing when we were doing our vows, and on one of the pictures is an orb. It's about like this big, and it's blue, and it's on his shirt. He's wearing a black shirt, and there was no windows in that room, so I know it was an orb. Sorry, guys. And it was funny because I had silently asked my brother, I'm like, you better be there, you better be at my wedding. And it was funny because, like, other pictures that had been taken since he passed away, like, surrounding my great nephew, who just turned 3, was always blue, like orbs or whatever. Or there's one picture I have of him where there's something blue wrapped right here, like around his, kind of around his neck, not right here, but coming around. And it's just unreal. And so I kind of associate, the color blue with my brother for whatever reason. And that happens to be my mom's favorite color too. So yeah. So I'd like to think he was there that day. So, and he has definitely, like I said, made himself known around here, which I think is awesome, because we used to argue. He lived with me for 7 years. Right after he actually got diagnosed with heart failure, he moved in with me. And he lived with me for 7 years, and we used to go back and forth. He's like, nope, Tanya, when you're dead, and that's the end of it. I'm like, nope. And I said, fine, if you die before me, you better come back and prove me wrong. And I said, or I'll prove you wrong, whatever. And I said, or if I happen to die before you, I will haunt your ass, So, but yeah, I definitely know he's around, so. That comforts me a little bit. I still wish he was here so I could talk to him about all this, but, it is what it is, right? Thankfully, I have other people I can lean on, so. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to give you an update. I will let you know what happens when I find out the results from my echocardiogram. I'm sorry this video is getting kind of long. It's almost 17 minutes, so I just, thought I've been on YouTube now for a while, and I believe this will be my 60th video, which is amazing to me. So, if you've been around for a while, thank you so much for sticking with me. And I really feel like I've made a lot of friends here on YouTube, and I enjoy watching all your guys' videos and reading comments and writing back. And, it's a great outlet for me. And to be able to just talk to you as a person and not doing a haul is very therapeutic. And I know other people feel that way too. So, anyways, I'm going to get off of here, and I'm going to go through some eBay inventory. And so I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you all later. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you leave me a comment, I will write you back. Okay? Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.